call the meeting to order. It is Tuesday. We're at the building for our regular monthly meeting. We're going to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge of allegiance. Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, needless to say, we're living in a strange world, so there are, Lord help me, we're live on Facebook, is that correct?
We are live on Facebook.
Okay, so those that can hear us on Facebook, you won't be able to speak to us, but you'll be able to hear what we're saying, and hopefully it all works out. Okay, our agenda, we will just move right into that. I wasn't sure about approval of agenda, so I want to ask, is that simply agreeing to what we have in front of us?
Yes.
Not the minutes from, we don't have any minutes.
Again, this is just changing format a little bit, that we don't have to do it, and basically if there was an item that somebody wanted to add to the agenda, now would be the time to formally add something to the agenda. If you choose not to, then we accept the agenda the way that it is, and we just move forward.
You got it. All right, and I'm fine with that. I'm used to minutes, approving consent minutes, but there are no consent items. And is there anything in the agenda that anybody wants to add to?
I would like to talk about the beach.
Okay.
And actually, it in miscellaneous, like we.
Yeah, we could do it miscellaneous too.
Yeah, there is a miscellaneous.
Yes, sir.
It's sort of just what's published, I guess, is what.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Miscellaneous.
All right. We'll revise that so we're all a little more familiar with what we're gonna do. All right. Public comments. Just for the record, since the storm, we haven't really had a public comment section. We sort of allow people to speak based on the items on the agenda. I'm more comfortable with that right now, instead of just making those of you that are here that might want to speak. If the council doesn't have any objection to that, I'd like to just stay with that. We're in a fast changing world, and sometimes if we just make it public comments, it may be something that we talk about later anyway. Okay? So, is the people here familiar with the agenda? Are there public comments that aren't on the agenda? Okay. All right, we're going to move then to the regular agenda items. The first one is the public hearing on first reading and transmittal of ordinance 743. If you would, Marla, just give us an overview quickly of that before we open the public hearing.
Yes, Mayor. And I'd first off like to thank 3 members of the planning board that were able to attend the meeting yesterday under the issues that we have today. Laura Metcalf was here in person, but then we were able to call in Laureen Lindsay and Bill Driver so that we had a quorum of the 3 members. They were called in on my cell phone. It was a recorded meeting. We read each one of the items and went through the process. And both items on the agenda were moved forward for the council with an approval from them. So the first item is isolated to the impervious area that is recommended for townhomes, keeping in mind that the original impervious area was 50%, and on a parcel that is 100 feet or 75 feet long and only 10, 15, 20 feet wide, the impervious area 50% was very, very hard to to follow. So we raised it to something that was equivalent to what was being performed prior to the hurricane. So what we did was we looked at the old townhomes, and most of them had in that 80–85% impervious area within their footprint. So we're suggesting, since the council had approved an ordinance that allowed people to go back in their existing footprint, along that same line of thought, to make the ordinance follow that so that people could go back in the existing footprint and not have to grant the variance. This is not the 7-foot setback component, that's the next piece, but this was integral in getting a passable site because 50% was just hard to attain.
And the first ordinance is comp plan only. The second ordinance we'll get to later creates a new zoning district in your land development code. In order to create that new zoning district, we had to change one aspect of the comprehensive plan for residential high density. Otherwise, the new zoning district wouldn't be allowed under the comp plan. That one aspect is what Mario described. It's the impervious surface allowed under the comp plan for that one future land use category.
And Mayor, you did have a question from a person in the public that was asking on ordinance number 743 that
Yes.
pertains to the impervious area, and he did a bunch of calculations. Please understand that 85% is a not to exceed. Just because you can build up to within 10 feet of your front yard, you can build within 20 feet of your backyard, does not mean that you can. It means you still have to meet the impervious area, which means your footprint has to be smaller, and your driveways have to be smaller so that you do not exceed that 85% impervious. On the second ordinance, one of the things that you'll notice is once you get into these townhome uses, it is mandating, and this is something for y'all to consider, that the pavers and sidewalks that you put within your parcel have to use an impervious paver to allow some water to get back into the ground, because in prior developments, the footprint of the building was 65% of the site, and then they covered 100% of their front yard with concrete or asphalt, and we were probably getting 95 and 100% impervious surface on those, and we're trying to get something back in by either building, smaller strips for your tires as opposed to your whole car, or, just doing something creative so that you can at least try to have at least 15% pervious surface.
We need to clarify calling them pervious pavers, because pervious paver is not what we're using and not what we need to use, because once they get clogged, they no longer are pervious. It's a permeable paving system. So, and if we clarify that, then we don't have any issues, because if it's done correctly, then it's going to continue to let water go through it. If once a pervious paver for anybody that doesn't know, looks like a Rice Krispie treat, and once it gets clogged, you cannot clean it out. Permeable pavers, if the joint does get clogged, you can clean it out, and it retains the same value that it did at the beginning. And you have very little times that you have to clean it out. So, but we do need to change it, so that when we're talking about the paver, it's got to be permeable, because we don't want to keep confusing it with pervious, because we don't want to allow pervious. Is everybody clear with what the pervious? I wish I'd known to bring it. Now, with that said, I'm in the paver business, so I've done a lot of research on this, and I've still got some stuff working on this to bring up later, but just so that you know, I'm in the paver business. But again, we need to clarify that the pavers aren't pervious, that they are permeable.
And I think the way the land development code refers to it is it's referring to a system. So whether it's a permeable, whether it's part of a permeable paver, or the gaps or the openings or whatever, the whole thing is a system, we're not just talking about that, we're talking about everything else that component ties into to make some perm rate.
Well, I'm just saying, we may want to clarify it, because a pervious paver joins tight. I mean, you got a gap in a paver system, that's a permeable paver, pervious, they join tight. So once it gets sealed, there is no joint. So there is no system anymore. You
Treat it like dirt.
silt, organics, anything can get in there. So,
Does that system that you're discussing have anything to do with ordinance 743?
At the end of the day, you're calculating that 85%, and it
The way we
calculates that.
calculate it, it's not part of how that's done isn't part of 743.
could be though.
I'm saying it's not now. It's not, I don't see anything in 743 that
No.
talks about calculation.
You are correct. The calculation component is in the land development code, and what we're talking about is strictly
I just want to
raising the impervious area from 50% to 85%.
trying to not make it any more confusing than it already is. All right, back to, before we, we're not leaving that, but let's open the public hearing on ordinance 743 for anyone. We need to make sure that, and I don't recall his name, he's listed here as Woody 2 by his email that sent this in, but we certainly want this to be part of the record for the public hearing, and we'll get that to Mario. There she is. Thank you.
We'll get it to
We'll
Lindsay.
get that to Lindsay. Now, is there anyone else to speak on ordinance 743? Okay. Before we close the public hearing, I just want to clarify, Mario, I think this email question is assuming that you can just automatically have 85%.
Correct.
I mean, if I'm reading this.
That's the max that you're allowed.
Right, but it doesn't mean that you, based on your lot size and what you put, you don't just get that. So I think in many ways that answers this question. If I'm reading.
I believe it does. It's just,
When we've got his contact, if that comes up, we can talk to him. You can clarify that.
I'll circle back to him and probably give him
Okay,
Gina.
fair enough.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right, we'll come to the table now for 743, close the public hearing. There's a significant difference in land code and comp plan. 743 addresses the comp plan as stated by our attorney. So if there's discussion on calculation, I would think that y'all meaning staff, between Gina, Mario, are going to give us you're gonna have some kind of standard calculation?
You're talking about the pervious?
Well, I'm not as educated as Daryl, I'm just only sort of following in behind him.
Currently, what we're going by is the land development code, which says you bring us the information and that's what we use. So if it's a system, a permeable system, and it says it's 40% impervious, that's what we use. If it's a pervious material, whether it's pervious concrete, whatever it is, and it says it's 40% impervious, that's what we use. We use whatever they provide.
and that is consistent with the land development code at this point.
I double checked the land development code. It's actually using the term porous paving materials. So when we get to the next ordinance, we'll be able to get that consistent. That's how the land development code works.
All right, well, we're coming up to 744, which is the land code, so why don't we just stick right now with 743 as the way it's written, in terms of the language, you can see it was underlined, what we did. Yeah, please do.
I used to know this, I don't remember it. A townhome, they own the structure, but they don't own the land. A condo owns the structure and the land. What's the difference in a condo and a townhome?
Yeah.
It's the opposite, so condo owns the building, but not the land.
If you live in a condo, you have the ownership of the unit you live in, and then you have an undivided interest so you share the land with everybody else.
Okay, but a
It's
townhome, you actually own a piece of property that you got. Okay, so that has a difference in the 85% of your particular property. Okay, all right, I'm clear.
Okay, is this just on being rebuilt, not new construction?
This,
Not rebuilt, I
put it this
mean,
way, if somebody,
replacing what was already there.
this was done mainly to replace what is already there, but there are landowners that will come in and build new townhomes, and those new townhomes will fall under these rules. So there will be future townhome developments. To give you an example, we approved a PUD
So it's
not too
all,
long ago, so within that PUD, they have a 0 lot line, just like, you know, the developments that were done in the past had a 0 lot line.
The context is, right now, even if you pass both of these ordinances today, and you pass them again later, and they're really on the books, nothing is zoned townhouse district yet. Someone has to come to you and request to be rezoned to townhouse district. What we anticipate doing is taking 100 or so parcels that we know are appropriate for this and initiating that ourselves. But if somebody else wanted to do it in a location where it hasn't already been a townhouse type scenario that's being rebuilt, they'd have to get your approval to switch to townhome district instead of residential high density. If you don't want to approve it, you don't approve it.
It's not automatic for future, they have to come ask you.
So this deals with, the whole purpose was dealing with what was here pre-Michael,
Right.
and the 0 lot line where we were approving variance after variance because they had a property, they had a party, back to the party wall. Any other questions from council? All right, remember this is, we'll have a motion or discussion to read by title only.
make a motion to read ordinance number 743 by title only.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Dick, are you doing the reading again?
I'm going to read that.
All right, good.
Ordinance number, I'm on the wrong one. Ordinance number 743. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending the City of Mexico Beach Comprehensive Plan, future land use element to create an exception to the impervious surface limit within the high-density residential future land use category for properties that are zoned townhome district, providing for repeal, severability, and providing an effective date. And because this is a text amendment to your comprehensive plan, if you vote to approve today, what you're doing is we will send it to the state of Florida. They'll do a review. Normally that's 30 days. Under the conditions now, maybe longer. And at that point, it'll come back to the city. We'll hold another hearing on a final adoption.
All right, so we motion to read it, we now need a motion to transmit it to the,
To the state.
yeah, to the state Department of Economic Opportunity.
We transmit it to the state.
So,
Have a motion and a second. Is there any opposition to transmitting it to the state? If there are comments? Let the record reflect it passes 5-0.
I would suggest a roll call vote on something like this with the state review in particular.
Call the roll, please.
Okay. Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
All right, 743 is, we'll put that on the back burner till we hear from the state. All right, next is the first reading of ordinance 744, townhome zoning. Mario, again, if you would please, just a brief overview.
Mayor, again, this is addressing the issue of the townhomes. This is the second portion, which then sets up the setbacks on the side property lines. And the one edit that you will have coming to the next meeting, which we don't have here, but I want to make sure that I'm clear on it. Your side setback went to 0, so it allows for a 0 lot line. When you get to the very end of townhome use, and you get to the very end of townhome use, now you're next to high-density residential or commercial or something else. Whenever you are adjacent to something other than townhome use, your setback goes back to 7'5" or 7'6", 7.5 feet. So I just want to make sure that that's clear, because it's not written that way right now, but it will be that way when it goes to Department of Economic Opportunity and when you hear it for the second reading. And another good thing, the fact that we're doing this meeting and we don't have the ability to receive comments, people that are listening to this meeting can write in their comments and give it to us, and we will have those for our next meeting when we go to adopt this, that we can take those comments into account. But please do look at the maps that were shown within the packet, because it dictates all the locations where we think this is applicable. Keep in mind that some of the locations along US 98 are already tourist commercial that do not need this townhome, so that's one of the things that we'll carve those out, because they don't need to go to townhomes because they're already tourist commercial, which already allows for some of these setback components. But and if there are any questions that are more technical than what I can answer, Laura is available by phone. She is watching the meeting to the best of my knowledge, and we could call her if something is to that level of technical that Gina or Nick or I could not answer.
Okay, well, let's open the public hearing for comments on ordinance 744. Is there anyone here to speak about ordinance 744?
Mayor, I just got a quick question. Looking at one of the things on allowable uses for it, says accessory dwelling units. What is an accessory dwelling unit? I mean, what's the definition of that?
Accessory,
Yeah, it says principal uses, residential, single family
what
attached.
page are you on? Or where are
Oh,
you?
gee, I'm on, D townhome district. It's on your chart.
Oh, it's on the chart.
It's on the
Okay.
chart.
I got you, I got you.
But I was kind of curious what that is. In the townhome district, would that mean you can build another house behind it?
Trying to find. Oh, yeah, under uses allowed with council approval, right?
Yes, yes.
Accessory dwelling units. It's on this now.
Yeah.
Right here.
Under the number 4,
Yeah, under number 4 and it's B.
Mayor, I can address that if you want.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I'll probably fumble around with it, so go ahead.
It's like a mother-in-law suite, but it has to be under the same roof as the primary structure. So the bottom of a house on pilings could be enclosed to be an accessory structure, an accessory dwelling unit. It can't be a separate structure.
So it has to be attached.
Yes,
Has to be under the same,
Under the
it's
same-
like it's been for,
yeah.
you know, we argued this ad nauseum.
And that accessory dwelling units are currently allowed in high-density residential, which is probably why it made it to that chart.
Okay, I was just curious what that meant.
Yeah.
It's the background of this chart. It's all identical to regular residential high density, except for a handful of items that had to be revised to make the townhomes fit. And yeah, accessory dwelling units are laid out in detail in your land development code. I don't think we made any big changes to those rules in the last few years. So it's what you expect.
Yeah, well, there was a movement to do something different, but it never went anywhere. You know, where you could have a separate structure and call it, you know, a mother-in-law suite, but we didn't do that. So this refers to strictly under the same roof line of the primary home.
Thank you for explaining that.
There you go. Are there other comments on ordinance 744, public hearing wise? If not, we'll close the public hearing, move to the table for motion to read and/or discussion.
Make a motion to read ordinance number 744 by title only.
We have a motion and a second. Any opposition, please do so, Nick.
Ordinance number 744, an ordinance of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending the Land Development Code to create the Townhome District zoning category, allowable only within the high-density residential future land use category, providing development standards, allowable uses, prohibited uses, and other development standards applicable to the Townhome District zoning category, providing for codification, repealing ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, and an immediately effective date.
Thank you.
That ordinance will come back around the same time that the comprehensive plan ordinance has finished its review with the state. We can't adopt ordinance 744 unless we've adopted 743 first.
But this don't have to go to the state. This don't have to go to the state, right?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on. Only because I don't see it. What is ordinance 745?
It is the city clerk.
Okay, it's not here, it's not on our agenda by ordinance number.
Yeah. Number 3.
Mayor, you got your packet early before it was complete.
Yeah.
You came in early and got your packet.
Yeah, I did, okay.
Yeah.
And I think probably
We
what
have
the
a different
difference
one
is.
here.
All right, I'm a little, I've what, got a little, all right, I've got that. I've got,
The version that's in the
Okay.
published packet versus the one on the table, the only difference is the page numbering was incorrect. On the published version, if you notice, it will say something like page 4 of 3 at the bottom. That's been corrected on these.
all right. All right, next is number 3, which is job description, updated city clerk. This is ordinance 745. Is there no public hearing? Yes?
There is not. It's
Okay.
just a regular update to your city code, and we'll do a public hearing on second reading.
Okay. All right, Mario, you want to sort of give us just sort of give us the short version of so everybody can have a chance to ask questions.
The broad brush on this is basically we've allowed the separation of the city clerk activities with the accounting activities. It has not taken it out completely, so right now the city clerk can be a city clerk with mainly the duties and responsibilities of a city clerk, but it is optional for them to have the accounting side of the work. So it allows for us to hire a completely separate accountant or hire a city clerk that is an accountant at the same time.
Okay, now, in doing that, the city clerk would always answer to the council.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the accountant would always answer to the council or what?
The accountant would answer to myself. If the accountant were also the city clerk, then the accountant would answer to the council. I don't know if we can make the accountant answer to the council or not, but it's,
We could. The background on the city clerk answering the council is it's a charter position, it's created by charter, so you wouldn't have that position fall under the city administrator, but you could set it up any way you like in here. And this ordinance actually doesn't even create a separate accountant's position, it just allows for the possibility.
Yeah, it also has flexibility that the clerk may also have accounting.
But the way this is set up is if you get your ideal candidate who's got great accounting experience and wants to be a city clerk, you just do it the way you've always done it. But if that person's not available, there's the option to hire a separate accountant, especially for the time being while we're dealing with far more dollars and complexity
why would we want an accountant to be answerable to the council? What are the reasons, pro and con?
Pro would be, that's what the council's used to, because they're usually having the city clerk, or used to having the city clerk answer to the council. That would be just what they're used to. I mean, I don't think there's any secrets about the budget and accounting. It probably wouldn't make much difference either way.
What the budget would still be the same as far as what it is now, as far as, sign checks or whatever.
We've not changed any of those.
Okay. I mean, that's the concern.
And on the upside of doing this right here, this really opens our market up for being able to find somebody a lot quicker in the situation, especially we find ourselves in now.
Yes, sir. The hope is that there are some accountants out there looking for work, that that's what they do for a living, is strictly accounting. And that hybrid city clerk / accountant is truly a hybrid. It does not exist everywhere, and it makes it a little bit tougher to fill that.
Really limit your market.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other comments or questions about this is a first of the city of Mexico Beach, and we have had a clerk / accounting responsibilities from day one. I personally am not attached to that's the way we've done it, so that's the way we have to do it. I'm one of those that you follow the money, you already find out how things are going on, but as long as we have an inner circle of council people that are involved in the check signing, and the attachments are part of the check signing, and we have competent people signing checks to look at what we're signing, then to me, you have a check and balance system. The integral workings of an accountant from municipal accounting is about as boring as it can be. But I like the idea of being, for me, I like the idea of separating it under the conditions we're in, because I really do think that as we move forward with our recovery, FEMA is going to put some things on us that we're gonna have to have a qualified accountant. Over and above a bookkeeper. So, I'm good with, for me, ordinance 745, I don't have any, I understand what we're doing, why we're doing it. And maybe we find that special person that does it all. But right now, we need to find something.
I'm in agreement with him, Senator. I'd like to make a motion.
Motion or further discussion, if there's any comments.
I'd like to make a motion, we, read, ordinance 745 by title only.
Second.
Second. Any opposition to reading, please do so.
Ordinance 745, an ordinance of the city of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending section 31.02 of the city code to modify city clerk responsibilities, providing for severability, codification, and providing an effective date.
All right, so we'll come back to that in 30 days, right?
Right.
You gonna take that long to put the ad out?
Well, if we approve the next two and council says that I can, I'd like to advertise these next two positions as quickly as I can.
What do you think, Nick? Can we do that?
Yes.
So we don't have to wait till the second reading?
And the only potential for any conflict is if you got a city clerk in that was a non-accountant for 3 weeks, we had no second reading, but I think under the circumstances, especially with everything that's going on, that'll be okay.
And we have an interim.
Yeah, we got somebody helping us in the clerk, and we're grateful for you, thank you.
Because these other positions aren't addressed by that ordinance. It's
Excuse
just- These other positions aren't addressed by that ordinance, it's only the city clerk position.
Right.
That's an effect.
Okay, then we will add that to our next meeting, and we'll move on then to number 4, which is the staff account, which is, Is that-
Number 4 is the city clerk, and number 5 is the staff accountant.
I'm sorry, you're correct. All right, so staff accountant is,
And all we really did was, again, the subtlety that we did within our code, we've now applied to the job description, which separates out the accounting component. So it's just making a minor modification to the job description. If council approves that, then we can.
is that also an ordinance?
No, sir, it's just, I may be working from past where I didn't have the authority to make changes to job descriptions, so again, I'm in an abundance of caution.
And we should too.
Yes.
And we should, that's a requirement of council
Okay.
to do that.
So the modification to the city clerk is separating that one component of the accounting outside of the duties.
That's correct. So I'm a little confused on the procedure for staff accountant. It's just a matter of council recognizing a new job, is that, I mean, that,
So the formal aspect of the council's approval on the clerk side is that ordinance. You can just approve the job description by voice vote. The other positions, I hadn't even really thought about whether they had to come to you. I thought that was more informational. The other positions are clearly under city manager, city administrator. And it's good to have these job descriptions approved, but I don't think we need.
What we've
we
never
don't need an
had.
ordinance. We don't need an ordinance.
no, not an ordinance, I meant, but we have to, we need it,
Yeah,
needed to
create.
recognize, we have to create a job.
Okay.
Because we don't have anything that talks about what we're gonna pay anybody. We don't have anything that's, I mean, we do have a list of duties.
Yes.
Good point.
But we don't have any of that.
The more formal, better way would be to use this resolution next meeting to create a position, but if you want to make a voice vote now, we can ratify it later.
It would take two weeks to probably fill the position anyway, so in that sense, the resolution component can follow. It would be good if you were okay with the dollar figure, and please understand that you have to trust me on the dollar figure, because until we get the accountant on board with the accounting consultant on board, it's gonna take me a little while to verify funds. What I can assure you is that the city does have access to $1.3 million to help the city fare through the hurricane, which is money that is not accounted for within your budget. That does give us some flexibility and shock absorber to the costs that we are incurring. As this position is, if you look at the advertisement on the tail end, I think the top end for this position is $65,000.
It is.
Annually.
But now we also have a clerk, we have two jobs. One was already, we're just sort of escalating in terms of salary and responsibility. So we have to be mindful of that we're an accountant for just 65,000, 45 to 65. We've got to add in the additional duties and dollars of what we're paying, and all of a sudden, that budget number probably doesn't look anything but red. Yes, sir. So, that we have the money is a good fallback. But it's something that certainly will have to be addressed
it's,
Scare us all, it's gonna come up here quicker than we think.
and it's one of the things that, I was very thankful that the council approved the consultant that is providing us with accounting services in our prior meeting. His digging and everything, showing that we are remiss in some places and we've got quite a bit of work. The day in, day out accounting responsibilities, which is reconciling books and things like that, is something that we don't need to be paying $95 or $90 an hour to. It would be much better if this was the staff person that were doing that, and that this consultant were leading the staff person to do that, and aiding and assisting the staff person to do that. So it is a complicated issue that I'm asking for some trust out into a couple, 3 months before my accountant and my accounting consultant can show us where all of this comes from within our budget. If we did not have that $1.3 million shock absorber, I would be much more concerned about this. But I will say that having already received $36 million of funds through FEMA, we absolutely are gonna have to have additional accounting experience and accounting services. I will tell you that we will submit all of our accountants' billing through FEMA to get reimbursed. So I'm very hopeful that we can get reimbursed for all of our accounting work. And I will also go in and work with our FEMA consultants to make sure that even our accountant that we hire, because we had to separate out city clerk and accountant. The only reason we really need that is we went from a $4 million budget to a $40 million budget. If we did not have a $40 million budget, I don't disagree that our prior group should have been able to do that within those funds. But in the current situation that we're in, it's gonna take extra accounting to make sure that we're dotting every I and crossing every T. So 5, 6 years from now, they're not drawing money back out of our accounts to reimburse the state or the Fed for things that we did not properly do. We will be doing audits to higher levels than we've ever done before. And when we get into the audit, which is an activity that starts right now, is due in June, those funds will also be going up. Your prior audits were about a $20,000 exercise. In talking to the consultant that we have on board, that exercise is going to double, if not more so, because of the hurricane and all the responsibilities that we have with these additional funds.
Quick summary, a vote of approval to establish the job is all that we need.
Yes, and we'll follow through with Mario's suggestion. Next meeting, we'll bring a resolution just ratifying this. But that's more to document it formally and have it within the books better.
All right, questions concerning what we're doing, why we're doing it, what we're trying to get accomplished here, need for it? Go up on the table. Any questions from council? All right, if we so choose, then a motion is in order to simply approve establishing a staff accountant job position.
I make a motion, we approve to establish a staff accountant job position.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Okay, within that job description and the resolution that will be coming back to us, is that where the money that will be identified as far as what you are going to recommend based on sort of what's out there and? Okay. All right, leave that subject, our current consultant that we're paying, have we, is it time that we address that? Not, I don't mean, but have you looked into that contract? If it's even, I think it's just month to month. I don't think we have an active contract.
Yeah, our past contract, if council would agree with me, I'd like to terminate that contract. It is a $600 a month contract. They're supposed to invoice us for services. And I would like to terminate that and then circle back on it.
Okay, just a quick recap, the current, what we're speaking of is back during Adrian Welly's time, he needed assistance. We hired, went under contract with Robertson and Associates out of St. Joe, who gave us X amount of hours for helping oversee the rest of the accounting. We have been using that same, fill up any shortcomings that we had in the accounting side of who was working here. And Mario and I spoke, it's been several weeks ago, it was recommended, I told you, make a recommendation that I don't think we need to be paying that if we're gonna get an accountant. And we don't need, if we're gonna, once we hire somebody, we don't need to supplement them with additional oversight from the county position that we've been doing for the last years.
That contract dated all the way back, I believe, to May of 2015.
All right, so, can we get a motion then, since it was under contract, that we just authorize the administrator to void the contract with Robertson and Associates?
Make a motion, we authorize the city administrator to void the contract with Robinson.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any comments? Nick, you got me going, shall I call the roll, please?
Mayor Captain?
Yes.
Mr. Pollard?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Keith?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, then number 5 is a resolution 2020. Petition law.
Six.
Not getting my packet early anymore.
Yes.
You're right. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate the help. Number 6, resolution 2020, waterfish wildlife. This is, Mark, what have we got going here?
Mayor, Dina, in her infinite fashion of always digging for the city, has found an opportunity for the city to get some funds and leverage our monies. So she has found that Florida Fish and Wildlife has an opportunity for the design and permitting for boat ramps to further the fishing industry. So she would like to go after that. Within that, it's always great to have some percentage where we're in, so that it shows that we have commitment in the issue. So she's proposing that we have a 10% commitment into the program. What we would be going after is expanding our current boat ramp to the east to fill in the current area that's more like a boat dock, to actually make a ramp out of it. Potentially, if people are good at launching the boat, you might be able to get 2 more boats out at a time. If they're not so good, 1 more boat out at a time.
Two for sure.
But this would give us the ability to go after that through Fish and Wildlife. It takes a little bit of time because you have to go through the Corps of Engineers, and Fish and Wildlife. Hopefully, if we get this, we'll do the design, we'll do the permitting. About the time that wraps up, we will be able to go after the exact same grant for the construction, and then be able to build same location next year. But we need the signature authority, and what Dean's recommending is to give me the signature authority to go after this grant.
You say Joe's have to.
Yes, sir. We would expand our current lease with the St. Joe Company, which they spoke about during the PUD, to allow us to go after expanding the boat ramp, which was discussed during the PUD.
All right, so here we just, on the resolution, you need we need to just approve resolution 2020. Is there, well, you need a,
Make a motion to approve resolution 2020. What do we need to read it? By title only?
We can read it, but ordinarily just vote to approve. I'll read it for the audience.
I got it.
Ordinance 2020, sorry, resolution, I was noticing the blank. We know the resolution number for the record?
2020.
All right, resolution 2020 dash blank. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, authorizing the city administrator to act as project manager for the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission Florida Boating Improvement Grant Program, and providing that the city administrator has authority to apply for and administer the grants on behalf of the City of Mexico Beach.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve resolution 2020, giving Mario the authority to grant the grant.
So,
Have a motion second, call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Does this mean that Mario's going to be fishing license, right?
We'll bring that up later.
I have it. I'll always have a fishing
Can you
license.
launch your boat from there?
I have a decal now, yes, sir.
All right, moving on, we have citizens' comments. Has anything changed since before the meeting, or the first meeting to now? Any comments? All right, staff reports. Who's here to staff?
I think as we can hear, they're working hard, both, and I apologize for that, but it's basically the electricians are either here today or not here for another week, and just so it's time to I'll try to make them quiet. And that's coming along well. I would hope within the next 2 weeks we'll actually be in there. Obviously, we're having issues now with getting stuff in with all the problems that are going around, but we will get there. And I think everyone's aware of the patrolling that's been done by everybody, which is going well. And we will continue to do what we've been doing and try and keep us all as safe as we can. Just remember, keep your hands washed, keep your distance, and keep an eye on those older members of our society who may need help. And if you do find anybody who does need anything, let us know and we'll do our best to help. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Sam. Tommy, you got anything? Public Works?
Mayor, just to give an update, since they got the bridge done at Salt Creek, we've started cleaning up that end now, made good headway, we got all that cut down, weed eated, we're just about to the point now of getting the debris picked up, the big debris picked up. Once we get that done, we can start filling in the holes, kind of getting everything done back on that end. I guess the water lines gotta go in, stuff like that, but we're making headway down there.
We're gonna open that road once we get, we're gonna allow people to drive down there once we clean up.
Mayor, I guess that would be up to the council. Right now, they can walk down, access the bulkhead sidewalk. It goes all the way down. We cleaned all that off. People are going down to the beach. Once we get that debris up and get the holes filled in and all that level back up, then that would be up to y'all. But, I see no reason why anybody couldn't go in there at that point.
You just make that call tomorrow if there's, once it's cleaned up and it's
It's
safe.
safe.
Yes, sir. That's the whole idea behind it, is to get it safe. Right now, there's a lot of, sharp debris and stuff in there, and that's the reason we don't want anybody driving in there. And plus a lot of holes, it was washed out from the storm. Once we get that debris out of there, we can go in and get those holes filled in, roads all graded back down, and, we'll be good to go.
Is that good, council? Whatever, whenever they get it where it's passable and safe. Thank you, Tommy.
Yes, sir.
Who else is on staff? There he is. I thought I saw you walk in. What you got, Marty?
Oh, everything's going good, sir. Extra patrols on the beach, everybody's cooperating, having a good time. No complaints that we know of right now, unless y'all have some.
Is there any police report in terms of anything happening in town? We got any bad fuck things going on? We got any robberies or, I haven't heard of anything, so
Everything's been nice and quiet. That's what
nobody
it's
went
supposed
over to Jerry Smith.
to be. Just Jerry's out there. Once we got him under control, we had more problems.
You say an extra patrol on the beach?
Yes, sir. Just making sure that, people's keeping their distance and stuff like that. But it's just, the people to see us down there also.
I think it's a
They
great
like
idea.
to see us down there.
Yeah. No glass and that's it.
No glass on the beach, and we've also added a new side-by-side to help patrol the beaches too.
Yeah, I noticed that. Good deal.
Any questions for Lieutenant Williams? Thank you, appreciate it. I just see you not sticking your head up over there. You got anything
Nope.
on the building? Tell me about the building department. Are we open or closed?
We're open, not to the public though. Our phones are being forwarded to Sandy and Gina.
Okay.
So somebody.
Working from home.
We're all working from home, that's correct.
If something needs to be submitted, they can drop it off, we'll take it and bring it over to them, but typically, most of their information today is done electronically, so they have the contact information to submit everything electronically. But if you don't have those capabilities, we can accept it in an envelope and then we'll pass it on.
All right, Administrator, you're up.
And Mayor, along those lines, it's pretty much the same for City Hall. Our water department, any questions, if you're looking for a decal for your boat fishing access, we're asking for people to submit that through an envelope so that we don't have to have contact, or go online and provide those services online. So again, in the respect of the general public and staff, which is exposed to a lot of people, last week we started reducing the amount of entry, and then this week, in conversations with staff, both in the field and in the office, we all felt it was best to start moving that to the next level, which is to close City Hall to internal traffic. We've also advised our consultants with Adkins and FEMA to stop their travel. Again, when people are moving from larger cities to here is one of our bad locations for exposure. I don't know if you noticed the questionnaire that we had for people that were coming in, and that is one of the key questions. Are you coming in from an area that has an affected population? So we're trying to avoid that affected population. And then, of course, maintaining a little bit of extra distance between ourselves and our partners is not a bad thing. So there are meetings that go on every single Monday. They give us an update from the EOC. We get a report from the EOC on a daily basis. I disseminate that information to the council so that it has things. We're posting any updates that we have on our website. This meeting,
Today,
yes, sir.
when you passed out.
This meeting is being broadcast on Facebook. I could see where in the next meeting, we might have a number that people could send questions to in a text format or in an email format. I'm not sure that we want to go into the verbal format, because then it becomes problematic on first, second, third, fourth, and if you're on speakerphone and there's wind in the background and all those things. So again, I'll work with other cities to see what formats that are working for them. But for us, being a little bit smaller and not having IT personnel within our organization, if we can step into that slowly, I'm hopeful that this is broadcasting well so the general population can see what's going on. And if they do have questions, again, keep in mind all the ordinances that we read today are only the first reading, so we will have an opportunity to address those issues. And City Hall, my email is still available, my phone is still available. Council members are out there and about. Please ask questions. There's much more than just this opportunity to get questions answered from the city of Mexico Beach. So look forward to answering more questions.
Okay, question for the administrator?
You pointed at Kathy, I believe. Kathy has been working on a spreadsheet for the RVs and a spreadsheet for the homes that need to be taken down. She has a good enough list on the RVs and has developed a list of RVs that are here with nothing else going on other than just an RV on property. We have a form that she has that's ready. She's left one blank, and that is, how many days' notice do you want to give those RVs that are not here, rebuilding a business or a home, to vacate that property? Original suggestion was 30 days, mainly because of what we're going through right now. Some people don't come here but every couple of weeks, and this gives them a full month to pick up the RV and take it back home, because what we're hopeful is that the RVs are being utilized to rebuild a home, not an RV, so that you have a vacation place while you're not even considering building a home. That is strictly up to council.
I like 30 days, pretty reasonable, you know, I would like to see it shorter, but at the same time, we don't, again, with the times like it is, and somebody just coming in, grabbing one and leaving or whatever, we're gonna give enough time, but not too much.
I think 30 days is fine.
So now, so I thought we still had this, we haven't finished the discussion on this the last time, because, so we've already decided that if they're here and they're not building, even though they own the property, that they gotta move their camper? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I mean, if that, it's been a year and a half. We're not an RV city. I was first really for having RVs to give people a place to stay, to build or whatever. But we just can't continue to, as far as I'm concerned, we can't continue to just let people stay. And there's some places got 2 RVs on one lot, and people live in both of them.
Well, I sit both sides of the issue, but there's, you know, there's a lot of circumstances for these people.
If they got a reason, insurance, trying to get a building, whatever, but that got to cover it. Not just to have a,
Let me just throw a, for instance, there's an older gentleman, you took a picture with him the other day, over on Maryland. He's 90-something, has no insurance, had no insurance on his place, has no kids, his place was devastated. I think he's living in a FEMA camper. I can't see that we should or could, I don't have the heart to throw him out. He has no other choice but to be there. Those are the kinds of, that's to me, that's an extenuating circumstance that needs to be addressed on a one-on-one basis. And for me personally, I would say, if he can't do any better, and he can't do any better, we should, as a community, have the heart to say, we're glad you're here, we're sorry that your place, I mean, he's living in a camper, he's already, those are the kinds of circumstances. And there's stories everywhere. I mean, there are stories everywhere. You know, most of the people that had a mobile home, I live in a mobile home, and I can't, didn't have insurance on it, and I can't get insurance on it. So if mine were to have been devastated, you know, I would have to make enough money to build a house first, and you know, that's a tough thing. It's not that I don't have money laying in the bank where I could go build a house right yet, you know, possibly. I'm just saying that there are, it's not just cut and dry, and since I'm saying all this, I will say, and try to be firm with it, I agree. I think that there are most of the cases where people are just trying to put a camper here, they're in the wrong, they've had time, they need to move on. And I totally agree with that, but I think that handling it cut and dry without reviewing it on a one-on-one basis is something I'm not in favor of.
Well, as I said, started, they had reason.
Okay. Well, are we gonna have to say what reasons are reasons and which ones are not? I mean, I think we're gonna have that kind of talk, aren't we? Or are we gonna have to talk about individual situations?
Well, there's a FEMA camp, ground in Gulf County still, where FEMA was giving, trailers to people to live in, and they could still move in there. There's not very many trailers over there, like FEMA expected. I think most of you probably know the area I'm talking about. So that would be a possibility for somebody like him. I think, we've had this discussion before about trailers on lots, and, that's not changed any. I think that was before the storm. But, and other vehicles on vacant lots, which I'm sure you run into that, people storing, commercial vehicles on residential lots. I don't know what's the reason for that. And I think we're eventually going to get through all of this, like clearing the lot. We've got so much things for the code person to do. Now, regarding this individual, I don't disagree with that. That's an unusual circumstance. I don't have a problem with that.
How are we addressing the people that had campers prior to the storm that they just, I mean, because you can, if you own a home here, you're in your home, as long as they have a home there, they can have a camper?
I think they could park an RV there, but they
They're not
couldn't
living
connect it. They couldn't connect it.
I got one in my house.
Yeah,
I don't build it. I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah,
So I
right.
got a house for
Right.
it.
yeah.
But now, if you got your kids coming down for a big group or a family function or something, it's
Yeah.
not,
At a certain length of time, in our ordinances that you could have somebody stay in.
okay,
Yeah.
so that's
Short
already
period of
covered.
time.
Yeah, that's already covered. And that's all I'm asking, yeah.
Normally, it's supposed to just be a place to park.
Right.
I mean, I know places that you got a RV there and somebody's living in the house and somebody's living in an RV.
I don't think they're even supposed to hook up for water.
I say no
Except on a
reason-
temporary basis.
Yeah, I say no reason to hook up water. Electricity, you leave electricity on, because during the summertime, you want to keep a little cool in there and.
Keep it from getting moldy.
Right.
Ordinance doesn't allow it.
The ordinance doesn't allow for you to leave it connected even,
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
even
you
with
know,
power?
Then it's a living unit
it could very well be, right, that's why.
for storage.
Yeah, we talked about that some time ago.
Ordinance allow 14 days.
It's 14.
So it's 14 days.
So if you got,
Calendar year.
so if you got a camper on your lot, you can connect it every month for 14 days.
14 days a year.
14 days a year.
That's been, that's been that way for a long time. That's not a new.
There's a whole different thing, seeing that one individual who's living there full-time, nowhere else to go. I guarantee her statistics probably show 90% of these campers, the people do not live here. They're parked on their lots as their little vacation home because they lost that house. And that was done. That was given a time limit. It's been almost a year and a half. Enough is enough. I got a camper. I bought a lot big enough to put stuff there, to keep it there, stores. I got a house, and I lived in it while my house was being rebuilt, like the ordinance allowed. I mean, play it across for everybody the same. And the bleeding heart thing, I can see that, believe me. A 90-year-old man living in his house, that's the only place he has to go. But somebody who's just parking one out here, and it's just sitting there for a year and a half so they can come down every 2 weeks? No.
Have we sent letters before? Have these camper lots been sent any notification?
They received the initial permit, and then that was it. And
Okay,
then
so
we
nothing-
started the inventory side, and this is the initiative to, when we send the letter, we're letting the people know if you have a reason for being here, you're working with your insurance company, you pulled the permit, all those issues, you get a stamp and you're allowed to stay for some duration. If you don't have any excuse, then you have what we're asking for is 30 days to vacate the property.
Well, that's what I'm trying to find. How do we know what the circumstances are? Have we talked to them?
That's that letter.
I mean, have you made contact with them then before sending the letter?
There's a lot of them, I've never even seen the owner, and they've got nice gravel lots, they got their nice RV sitting there, and I've never seen them, and I'll go out on weekends just by myself, although I'm not allowed to, but I just check.
Okay.
I think with these letters, it would be nice to have the letter you send out, require them to communicate with your office within so many days. Oh. And if you, maybe 10 days. If you don't get a communication, and tell them the 30 days, I just think it's time, and I agree, that we make changes and we, take care of this situation. It's, some people have been real good about it. Oh, this is a page for everybody. You got a page?
Well, this is the new sticker that we got, that we're gonna put on the motorhome, so we can see it, the police, and where are we gonna put these on the campers? I've already had one lady call at me because I used Scotch tape to put up a sign. It didn't hurt to paint, so I don't know if you wanna put it in the door window on the outside.
If you
But
put,
there's gotta
if you
be
put it
place
on
to
the
put it.
glass is probably the easiest place.
Don't
to-
ask us that question, just put it find somewhere.
Yeah, on the glass.
Don't put it on any kind of paint product and seal it
Put it
off.
on the door glass, we'll put it in.
And put it so somebody can take it off and reuse it somewhere else.
Yeah, that's true.
That's, you know,
Yeah, there are creative minds.
that's right.
So really what we're just trying to agree to is tell them they got 30 days. Okay, so,
I mean, there's some that are very obvious, what they're doing with their RV. And there's another gentleman, he's down
Yeah.
37th Street, close to the water. Well, actually, he's right across from those condos that used to be on the front there that they're rebuilding. And supposedly he's hospice. And I've gone several times and knocked on the door. And I've not gotten an answer, but we did find out that a nurse is coming to visit him. Sometimes I've seen a pickup truck over there.
And the other thing I'd like with a letter that goes to people that have to clean up their lots, mow their yards, whatever. And I think especially with them, you could have in that letter, communicate with me in 10 days or else. And we've never done this, we need to set up a basis that's gonna hit people in their hip pocket. Because if we don't, you're just gonna keep going again and again and again. And so, you know, and if they don't communicate with you within 10 days, then that could be a fine. Because there's no point in you chasing these people around. They need to chase us back and get lawful with everybody, because we have, you know, the high percentage of the people that have always lived here do the right thing. And we get frustrated with the people that knowingly don't do the right thing. And I can't see any point of being, I hate to say overly kind, but overly kind. I mean, it's time to let people be aware of where they're crossing the boundaries, and if they don't communicate with us and show interest in taking care of that, then I think the council should set up some fines. Maybe we have. And it should not be $20. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna say.
We got the same thing tearing houses down.
Do what?
Same thing tearing houses
Yeah,
or trailers or whatever.
yeah, that have been there for a year and a half.
Or the trees.
Yeah, or trees.
I got a tree across the yard from mine. Tommy, did you go look at that?
The what now?
The tree that's leaning?
Yes, we looked at it. Yeah, that's gonna be something that, probably Miss Kathy's gonna need to send them a letter. It's definitely on private property, there's 2 or 3 trees. The problem with that is, Duke Energy said anything that's on their right of way, that could damage power line, they'll limit it, but they're not gonna take the tree down. So, that's probably something we're gonna need to, there's gonna need to be a letter sent out to them, and have them took down, cause it is a problem. And the city, while we're on the tree issue, we do have several other trees that we've been called out. We're working now to get our saws back up and running. When we do, there's one at the intersection of Florida and 3rd Street. We're gonna block the street off and actually take that tree down. It's on the city right away, and a couple more, we're gonna start working on. I think we got some volunteers that's gonna be coming in, not too distant future, that's gonna be, helping us with the trees, so we are gonna start taking some of the trees down.
So if we're gonna address the campers, then this is a really good time when we should be addressing the trees and the demo stuff all at the same time, because you can't run one group off and let the other group stay. I wouldn't think.
We got code enforcement.
And we have lots that used to have been told and did keep their yards, the lots mowed, and now they're just letting them grow. And they have no trees in the way. And I've seen 2 or 3 for sure. There were 2 or 3 lots and they kept it mowed. And now, why are they letting the weeds grow up? And the other thing is, when somebody takes the trees down, some of them are digging the roots up and taking them off and backfilling, good. But when they just cut the trees off and clear the lot, aren't they supposed to keep that lot cleared? So it could be mowed by a bush hog, at least. Otherwise, if we let that grow up, it just makes the city look messy. Any answers to that question?
So, I mean, we'd have to have legal grounds to tell them they gotta take their stumps up, though, wouldn't you think?
Well, if they don't take their stumps up, you know,
I mean, I think that
they
they,
can still bush hog or do something around it.
well, they can get a stump grinder and grind it down and leave it in. There's no problem for me is letting them stump grind it. But yeah, having stumps sticking up everywhere is an improvement with the trees gone, but still, it's not as good as it should be done.
Well, I agree, it's not the fire hazard that we have now in a lot of places, where the trees, I mean, there's a couple of lots you couldn't even walk through.
You got more hazards than fire hazard. You've got all kind of infestations with insects and all that kind of stuff. It's gonna, for those people that have good trees, it's gonna be a detriment for those. Any forestry people, whenever they get a bug in a tree, they take down a certain area around it so that they end the infestation.
Right.
So, we got all those kinds of issues too. So, yeah, it's been a long time, and they need to, there's no good reason for letting somebody that has just moved away from here and leaving their life in a distress situation get away with it any longer, I think.
Well, yeah, I know they took trees down in my neighborhood, but nobody worrying about the tree, the weeds that are growing up as high as this ceiling.
Yeah, right.
The city definitely has rules against high weeds on improved properties. We need to confirm if it's the same.
Yeah, it's still on.
Properties that make it more lenient.
All right.
I think it's over 12 inches or something like that.
Yeah, I think it is too.
And Kathy has focused on the RVs and the derelict homes, and when she gets a little bit of spare time.
Well, she has her hands full.
I know, I'm just saying, she's working through it, but the original focus has been RVs and buildings, and then we'll transition into the next level, but.
Yeah, right away.
Yes,
You're, back on the RV thing, the letter. Under Mexico Beach orders, contractors are not authorized to live in campers nor apply for an RV permit, even if working on that particular residence.
I thought we allowed that.
Yeah.
They would vote for
and be a contractor, you can do it. I mean, you just put a little cast net over the contractor, and I don't think so that's, to me, that's not a accurate statement. We've got this thing about contractors is I think, I like to see that reworded because that's not certain. I'm a contractor and I had a house here, I can live it, I can get it. If
What's
I
your property?
rebuild it, I can put it in there.
But that's your property. So you don't do that.
Well, but it doesn't reference that, it doesn't, nowhere in here does it say. It implies that if you're a contractor by trade, you can't do this.
You can't park where you're working on the house, right? I mean, what we're talking about?
Well, that's what we're talking about, that's not what it says.
Unless you own the property.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's right. I think it just needs,
Just write the words unless you own the property.
Yeah.
If you're an owner, you're gonna come in.
if you're the owner and you're a contractor,
Yeah.
you can do it.
Do you want it to be owner of the property or owner of the property where they're building themselves a home? They could buy a vacant piece of property, live on it.
No, you couldn't do that. And the rules were initially, and the only rules we've ever had was there had to be a home there to start with. And even if Frank and Susie hired contractor Joe, they couldn't let Joe live there. They all went, that's where this is coming from. But my point is that a contractor, by the nature of his trade, and he's a property owner that had a house there, he ought to be able to live there.
We'll clarify it.
Okay. All right, so we are.
That's good. Yeah, okay.
All right, so let's try to get Kathy, we have a letter, we're gonna send it out, and I wanna, my voice is that there is no, just one shoe size fit all in this. This is every situation has got some potential, and I hope that we use discretion in talking with these folks and finding out what the situation is or why they're, and that we, Daryl's right, there's other circumstances like Mr. Clyde Sanford in this town that this city needs to have some compassion for him. He didn't ask for any of this, nor did any of these other folks ask for it, so, I just don't want us to think that one shoe size fits all and that you got your camper, pack it up, get out. And I'm not implying, I think Kathy has great people skills and we will work toward getting what needs to be done, but I don't think that in 30 days you're gonna expect to see every camper gone, that's all.
Right.
Mr. Sanford was already addressed as a hardship case,
I know.
probably about 5 months ago.
Well, but my point is there's others that may have some circumstances that we're just gonna have to do some documenting.
I agree with that.
So, all right, so we're sending this out, we're comfortable with this? As far as the letter?
As long as you say ask to be removed unless you own the property. We're gonna have that in there.
The last paragraph.
Yeah, well, they said they were gonna take care of it, just clarifying that.
Right.
And,
The letter by itself is good enough. I mean, to me, I understand you have to do the days, but without, if you didn't have the days, if you didn't have that, you will have to remove them. To me, the rest of the letter really tells them that they got together. And that would
what we going through with the corona and, they being closed and they're gonna do it all, you know, I don't like the 30 days. What we going through. I want them gone, don't get me wrong, and I know Mr. Clyde very well. I was there the day after made him leave the hurricane, but it's a lot more, like Darryl said, it's more than just that one case. And if you read the letter, it tells you got to do something or go. But putting the 30 days on there, I think, and Kathy, she does a good job, and I think she'll handle it, but I just don't like that you got 30 days to.
Well, the ones that we know, like Mr. Sanford, we don't need to send him that letter. I could just put a permit up there and just put hospice on it.
Exactly.
The expiration
But
date.
she just needs to keep up with that. But I think everybody, I like the idea of the 30 days, and then if a situation that she has to talk with the people and realizes it's a different situation, then we're giving her the authority to make that work. But I think everybody should see the 30 days, because that makes people think the majority of the people that we need to get their attention, that's gonna get their attention. The other situations we're talking about are not gonna be the high percentage situations. But, you know, and I agree with Al, that that's the reason we've got somebody that's going to be able to talk about the situation. And if need be, bring them back, to Mario, bring them back to the council. But I think we're giving her the authority to say, okay, and put up something there, with her own good sense. Or do we want her to bring it back, every situation, back to the council?
No, I don't.
Well, I agree with that. I don't think it's gonna be necessary.
So Kathy, you feel comfortable with being able to make a determination?
I think so.
Yeah.
Our current ordinances allow the city administrator to make a hardship determination, but certainly make that choice together.
So if you end up with a really hard case, then you can confirm with law.
Yeah. Okay, I'd like that idea of not bringing it to the council.
Yeah.
And it'll happen quicker.
Because we got 75, how many we got?
Got 30, 33,
Oh,
34.
I thought we had 75.
That's demos.
Oh.
On
I knew we had 75 something.
I can give you a list if you want
The
to.
minor change we're making in the paragraph, just moving us on. I don't like the 30, I like for at the end, these campers will be asked to be removed.
So we try that first and then,
If you run into a situation that Frank says, you know, he doesn't meet any of this criteria and he says he's not legal, then we can address that. The letter itself, I like it where it just ends with these campers will be asked to be removed. For me.
Do you want this letter to be the asking to remove part, or is that suggesting them?
Well, I wish I could answer that. If I had some detail, I'm not trying to be the code person, but she just said she can handle that. And that's good enough. And then she has to go say, Marla, look, here's what I ran into. I mean, I'm gonna be as delicate, but yet not just let them run up, and like, 17 months now, we got time, people all know what they're planning to do.
Well, the only ones who are gonna give you a hard time are the ones who've laid out these nice gravel pads and
Sure.
cement tables, and they've got nice
Done their
different
homework.
zones.
And
That's what my hard time
absolutely
comes.
right. But we still got a way, I think, I just don't like the dates. I don't.
Mayor, the question is this: when we put that notice on that trailer that's sitting there with nothing more than a gravel lot and a picnic table, and it says this camper has to be removed, there very next question is, how many days do I have?
Exactly.
I understand that.
Well, I think 30 days, they can get in touch with her. I think we need to keep people moving. I mean, if you don't put a date down there, somebody could wait, and then she's gonna go back around and talk to them again. Let's have the people that are offending the situation contact us.
Yeah, well, I hope they do that. I hope that they do that. If they do, I don't have a problem saying, how long will it take to get it out?
That's
How
right.
much time do you need?
That's right.
Where
So,
you gotta put it? You
and
know
every
what I mean?
situation is a little different. We talked about that. But I think if you put the 30 days in the letter, that gives them a little impetus to move along with contacting us and getting it settled. And we don't have to keep going over and over and over. Okay. Said not least.
So the question lies with the council, assuming that we're comfortable, with everyone's comfortable with the letter is, do you want the days in there, or do you want it in as to be removed? And it's also going to require Kathy, for these folks to contact the code department.
Right.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So they're gonna have other options to communicate with us.
Well, should we give them time limit to contact the code within so many days?
Well, it doesn't say that. Is that something we're gonna add? I mean, it doesn't say in here to do it.
We can change it any way you like.
We used to have a
Well,
whole.
I mean,
I don't mind.
I think they need to, I think they should contact you. I think the letter should say
Yeah, I agree.
that.
And give them so many days to do that.
Circumstances, you know, dictate that you contact them. So I think that needs to be in there.
I agree with that.
I mean, if we can't talk to them, and they just want to ignore us, and we can be just as hard as we need to be, but I don't want to start out that way. I want to make it sound like we're, hey,
Well, we're
tell us
trying-
your story.
We're
Why
trying
you
to
here?
be compassionate. Yeah, we're trying to be compassionate.
So, other than that, and telling the code person, or telling in the letter, here's my name, here's my contact, here's how you get in touch with me, here's my email, whatever we have to do to give them every opportunity.
We could just put on there, please contact us within 30 days.
You could say contact or remove within 30 days.
Please contact us.
And emphasize the contact part. So she doesn't have to keep going over and over again with these individuals.
Are you in contact with most of them, Kate? I mean, besides just put a sticker on, verbally or communication, we had them.
Some of them have called me, and then some of them I met. And I've told quite a few of them when I met that there's gonna be a new permit that will be coming out, and that there's gonna be some changes made. So they've been aware of it, the majority that I've seen.
And the people you have come in communication with, they have yay or nay, they've done what you asked them to do, or
6 to 1. Half a dozen the other. Some do, some don't. Some woman sent me her insurance form that she just applied for flood insurance in January this year. If she wants to use that she's got a claim against the insurance company. And she wants to bring her RV down here until that claim is resolved.
We'll put Rocky on her.
But, you know, you already have people taking advantage of your code.
Yeah.
It used to say 6 months if you had a house.
Well, we
you
gotta start somewhere. Come on, we
I mean, how, you gotta have to go to school.
35 campers.
there was 100 something when Tanya was here.
Is it, did I hear you right, 35?
35.
Okay, well, let's just don't jump off a cliff over 35. Let's just weed them out and do it so that I'd rather let somebody take advantage of us than to take 2 or 3 that have legitimate cases and try to run them out of town. Okay, I mean, until we start, we're not gonna know. I think those that are taking advantage of us will surface to the top very quickly.
Well, some of them said they want to come down and like take care of their lot, so we could give them a 7-day pass or a 5-day pass or
Right.
3 or 4 day weekend, just say, yes, stop by, you get your permit, and, well,
I
I'll give you, you
recommend
can't stop by.
that you go and get a patience pill. And
I
that you
have
take
30
them
days.
daily, and then gonna be the kind of job that's gonna take just some good communication skills, and some of them are just not gonna like you when it's over. And that's just.
Really don't love me or like me.
And you can always send them tomorrow. So, all right, let's try to get past it. We're good with the letter, we got enough, have we got enough to get you what you need? I think the demos need to be also addressed.
I do too.
Big,
Yes.
And we need to come up, I don't know what else we can do.
Rat infested.
Didn't we do
We have a detailed process on how to
Yeah.
handle all this. This discussion, the point of this discussion is, I don't think that you all are comfortable enough being as aggressive as what our process says right now. And if you are comfortable with that, it's already all in land all
What is the process?
on the demos?
I need to look up dates and steps, but I mean, it's multiple steps, different notices that they get. Eventually, before there's a demolition, the end result, if they're not able or willing to do it themselves, the end result is the city would have a hearing, with the city demolishing the property themselves. It's done frequently, it works fine, it'll go on the tax roll, you just have to be comfortable financially that you confront that cost. That's what that.
Yeah, that's where the problem,
That's right.
it always has since the start.
And we don't have the money to do that.
And if we did, it would be at risk, and then with the way that it's put on the tax roll, conceivably you would be paid at the end of the year if they don't want to cloud their title. I mean, that's not a cloud on their title, they would be delinquent on their taxes if they didn't pay it. But it doesn't mean that you're gonna be guaranteed your money.
And they can be delinquent, what, 3 years?
It's about 3 years. It's a process to do a tax certificate sale, which then eventually is a tax deed for 3 or 4 years.
We can at least start sending them a letter. We can do that. For those that have done nothing.
But didn't we do that already? I think we did that charging $500 a day, up to 5,000, Nick?
We adopted a fee schedule in the fall when Mr. Anderson was the city administrator. I don't know what we've done as far as.
Have you mailed him, to your knowledge, Captain? I mean, if you seen any.
She does not, and I don't believe that Tammy ever issued any letters, to the best of my knowledge.
I thought, I looked at it past orders, and that $500 a day, up to $5,000.
well, we talked about it, but I don't think he made it.
We can issue a very similar letter to this, give them a 10-day, 20-day, 30-day
We
to
need
give
contact.
us contact.
To know how to, what appropriate action to take.
Yeah.
See what they say. Gotta start communicating.
About 10 days, 15 days for them to contact us.
Get each person and give them
And it's not costing me money to do that.
contact us.
And then we'll address the tree thing when Kathy has time to look at the tree thing.
The, on the street within the right of way, and it is at risk to the power lines and or right of way, we did have AmeriCorps lined up to come over here and do that. They were gonna tag all the trees first, flag them, GPS and get that to FEMA, and then the coronavirus swirled up, and that got derailed, but that was supposed to happen about 2 weeks ago.
But it will get back on track.
Yes, sir.
Okay, council comments.
On these issues, I have nothing else on these issues.
No, we're moving on.
I got some maybe.
Go ahead, you start.
Okay. Pass these around. I just got this in, Tommy just was able to give him the information. I was put it on the agenda, just nothing more about. Y'all remember quite a few months ago, I mentioned something about getting the Christmas lights back up. Tommy went with Duke Energy to talk to them. This is some of the different options. The first one, it would be a total of $75 $170 a year, but we would have to furnish materials and everything else, which would be a whole lot more expensive. It's per pole. The second one is, Duke would install the stuff, but it'd be $10,000 a year. The last one is the more reasonable one. They will install it. We would pay $3.09 per pole per month, which would be $1,965. Then we would not have to worry about any upkeep of any of it. Duke would be taking care of all the upkeep. The other two, we would have to take care of the upkeep. That's the most reasonable way to do it, and I know we're a long time before Christmas. It's gonna take a while to get all this stuff to. So it's something we need to address, and I would like to, y'all to okay, time to go ahead and get this stuff going.
That's a 10-year minimum commitment for option 3.
Right, and that's the same thing we had, before. And Tommy, how many poles we're talking about? How many poles we're talking about?
Yeah, Mayor, we have 42, council, we have 42 Christmas decorations to go back on the poles. We already have the brackets purchased and upstairs. And like I told Mr. Bobby, the number 3 on that list, the $3.90, I think is the best way to go with that. By doing that, it's a 10-year agreement we have to sign, but you know, Mexico Beach is gonna be here 10 years from now. And the good thing about that is if one of those drops goes out or the fuse goes out, that is all covered. Duke takes care of everything. They build them, they install them. All we have to do is hang our ornaments on them and plug them in. And if we have any problems, they come take care of them. And just like Mr. Bobby mentioned, the first one is if we built the drops, which is about $50 a piece, they'll install them, but you're looking at, you know, $7,500. Plus, if there's a problem with one of those, Duke is going to charge us a service call to come out and look at that. And I know all of you guys remember when I was general maintenance, about October, we went around and there would always be 5 or 6 of them that didn't work. So we had to fill out a work order, get it to Duke, and hope they got them fixed before December. So I think, like I said, the best way would be the number 3, pay the $3.90. That's definitely the cheapest way, and we don't have to worry about them. They take care of them from start to finish. All we have to do is put the lights on and they're ready to go. Thank you.
So same thing would occur if we get tired of looking at these for 5 years and we want to change and put some new ones in place. The city would buy the new ones and the same deal would apply.
Well, you still have the same connections and all.
Right, yeah, exactly. Right, okay.
Right, power would be there. If we decide to go to something updated and get some new stuff, everything would still be good. We may have to change a bracket for the new ornament, but the power would still be there for it.
But we're gonna put our own decorations up.
Yes.
So we don't have to worry about this 83, 88 per location. On B, number 1.
Right. No, all we'll have to do is, if we do the $3.90, they'll come, I'll show them which poles we want to put the decorations on. They'll put the drops on them. We'll install our brackets on them ourselves and then hang them and plug them in.
Okay.
Well, now we're gonna pay for that. That's not a budgeted item. Wasn't identified unless anybody looked at the budget.
Well, the budget before hurricane was. It's bottom number 3 is the same thing we had before the hurricane. Is that not right, Tommy?
Yes, sir. And I was gonna say, Mayor, all those, we gave the FEMA a list of all the poles were gone. They took them down, you know, from the storm, whatever. We lost all that. I think a list of all the brackets and the ornaments itself, it was turned over into FEMA, so that may be something that we can get FEMA reimbursed for, you know, having these put back up.
approximately a $2,000 a year fee with the 390. What I don't understand on the other locations is the 256 a one-time charge per pole, and then you get free power from that point? So I know the 390 includes your power.
Most of Mario, the way, and I told Mr. Bobby about this, the power charge, what they do, they take each ornament. I had to count all the bulbs on an ornament and figure up a wattage, which they rounded off to about 500 watts per Christmas decoration. What they'll do, the time we turn them on, usually when we come back off Thanksgiving holiday, they run for 33 days, which is till New Year's Day. They come on at 7 o'clock at night, they run to 7 o'clock in the morning. They run off the photo cell that's on the light pole there. So what they figure, there is a electrical charge that we'll pay for these, but we always pay that. Every year that was always added in, part of the street lights. So the only thing that we would pay would be the $1965.60. That would be for a whole year of the $3.90 per decoration per pole. I guess they could call it like a lease agreement for them providing the drops and taking care of the service for them for a whole year. If we went with just say item number 2, that one is they build the drops and they put them on the pole. But we actually own the drop. Once they build it and put it on there, it's owned by the city of Mexico Beach. The only problem with that is just you're looking at $10,762.08 plus a service call if they have to go out and work
I
on
don't
it.
see why anybody would do anything to go for it.
Right, right.
And that doesn't even make sense.
That's no brainer.
Well, I raised the budget because somewhere in this hurricane city of power, we have to have some understanding of what it is that, when you say we did it last year, we've never signed any agreement to do this.
What did we do before the storm?
We own the drops, they put them up.
Well, Mayor, what happened before the storm, because me and RD actually built some drops at one time. Originally, there was a drop there. Duke Energy put them on the pole. And what happened was they were so high, we couldn't reach them to plug them in. We were having to put an extension cord from the top to get them plugged in. So we got a hold of Duke and asked them if we built longer drops, would they install them? And they did for free. We didn't pay anything. We built the drops and then we took them to the poles and they took the old ones down, put the new ones on for us. When I talked to Dwayne at Duke Energy the other day, Dwayne said his understanding was that the city had this, of course, the lease thing was done years ago, whenever the Christmas ornaments was first put up. And all this thing is they're saying that we agree to keep them up at least 10 years. After that 10-year period is over with, I don't know if you have to renew that or not. That may be a question I need to ask you. But the way this reads, or the paper y'all have, is we just agreed to sign a contract that we will keep them for 10 years. And I'm figuring that's probably to cover the cost of them building the drop and putting it up there. After the 10 years, we may not pay the $3.90 anymore. I can call and find out. It may be where after that time period, then we just pay for the electric for them.
Do understand that each year I'm assuming you're putting the decoration up each year, or does the decoration stay all
No,
year
sir,
long?
we put them up and take them down.
Okay, according to this, it's $83 per location to install the decoration.
Yes,
Is that correct?
we don't pay them to do that, or the city actually puts them up and takes them down. We take them down.
That's
So.
if we paid them to put them up.
Yeah, I did email.
Sometimes they don't let anybody do anything on their poles except for them, is why I was asking.
Yeah, I did email their engineer back the other day and clarified the $3.90 thing to make sure that there was no additional charges. And she said, no, there wasn't. That if we paid the $3.90, all we paid was $3.90 per pole. And that we put the declaration, they let us know, that we have to submit which poles we want to put them on. They approve that, then we put the brackets on, and then we hang the ornaments. And then after that, we just pay the $3.90 per pole to do it, and they take care of all the maintenance on it.
I would just like to clarify with the conversation with Duke, because Duke Energy will supply the necessary labeled vehicles mounting and removal of holiday decorations, cost per location with existing brackets is $83 per location, covers install and removal. So I just want to make sure that that isn't an annual cost, because that's $3,500 additional dollars every single year.
Right,
I agree that $3.90 per month is $1,965 a year, which is the fairest of all the routes. I just want to make sure that, again, I only say it because I know that the power company is very particular about their power poles, and they don't always allow people.
Well, it says it again, no more, look at number 4.
Yeah, I think she was saying, if you wanted them to do it, then you can arrange for them to put them up. But we never,
We can do that.
Okay.
Good discussion.
So it's $1,600 a month for 10 years, so $16,000. So it's $1,600, 16, huh?
$2,000 a year.
2,000 a year, so 20,000 over. Rough number.
20,000.
Yeah.
So, okay. And then getting back to number 2, that's per year, so, yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. And the outlets won't last but 4 years in that environment anyway, so you really don't want to have your own equipment up there in that environment.
So I assume they send us a contract?
yes, sir, I have a contract in my office, and what they were waiting on was to see which one of the 3 ways we wanted to go with it. Once we get that, she said email her back a copy of the contract that we want to go with whatever route.
Well, why don't we put that on the agenda then for next meeting and have the contract in front of us so we have to know what we,
Okay,
I mean, so we can see what the contract is.
okay.
Okay? All right, whatever, that's all I got, Gary. I got one thing, and that's the public utility people, Tommy and his group, that they do a remarkable job in town, and I wanna somehow get up here in the mornings and thank them. I just, mowing the grass, the city looks, the right of ways are well done, just kudos to them. Tommy, thank you for your contribution, because it's well done, I can tell
Thank
you.
you, Mayor.
There's a few people we have, and it really makes a difference. Darryl, what you got?
I'd like to talk about the beach closing or not closing. I stayed on the internet all weekend, both days, almost got divorced over it. But from the authorities, there's conflicting stuff, so you can't really just say, well, here's a definite, here's a not. You know, and then I've talked to a lot of people. Most of the people here won't be able to use the beach. But most of the people that want to use the beach don't want people from outside to use the beach, essentially. I don't know that there's an easy thing, but the governor has closed the beaches down unless the municipalities want to leave them open. Is that correct? Just left it up, because Panama City has part of their beaches open and part closed.
Panama City Beach is all closed, the island is all closed.
I don't think the governor's closed all the beaches. Fayette County closed the unincorporated beaches.
Okay, all right. So our beaches would be closed if we lose our charter. If we had lost our charter, ours would be closed now anyhow.
No,
If we were a city,
Yeah, we are a city, therefore we have rights to maintain what we have, so.
There was some confusion on Friday about how would Mexico Beach be affected, but we've confirmed with all the property officials, including the sheriff's department, that closure applied to unincorporated Fayette County, and then Panama City Beach did their own closure.
One of the things that I tried to look at with this whole issue is the fact that our population is mostly older folks, and I'm including myself in there. So we have a really susceptible population in case we have an infection here. And we haven't had a case in Mexico Beach. So, but, you know, one of the things that we talked about, I had a group of friends together and kind of put their heads together. They have property here and come here and some live here. One of the ideas was, hey, why can't we just use the bracelets that, you know, when the city was closed down, you had a bracelet to get in the city. Well, you could do the bracelets to get on the beach. But after all the things that I've considered, what I would come up with is I think that we need to be ready to shut the beach down if we start getting inundated by people, because if we're one of the few beaches open around here, the weekends especially could get really crazy. And I don't see how we could just close the beach for the weekends. But I just want us to know that we need to be thinking about who's coming here, bringing the virus with them for our elderly population here. So, you know, I don't know what to do with it. I hate to see the beach closed, but I also want to be careful of our older folks here. So.
Well, if the older folks are really concerned, they won't go to the beach.
Well, this older folk right here said that, you know, he's gonna have to leave if he can't go down there because they have allergies and whatever, and they're able to go there in the morning and in the afternoon, and the beach is good. And that's what all the stuff said. You know, the virus can't live when the humidity rises and the temperature rises. The virus has a really tough time living, and we're about to get there.
Right.
This morning it was humid outside already. So we're almost there. So, and I think that contrary to what the mass media is trying to make this out to be, you know, Taiwan and Hong Kong and some other places have really had when it was happening, it went from up and down to almost nothing, essentially in 4 weeks. And so I don't know that I think we've started that up. So maybe in 4 weeks it's going to be a non-issue, and especially down here because it's going to be warm. It's going to get hot. But we still have, you know, we still have to think about it in the interim. I would like to be able to say that if we start getting a really bad influx on the weekends, that we have the ability to shut the beach down. I don't know how we do it. I never could figure out a good way to do it.
I mean,
Call a special meeting and we vote on it.
all right. We need to make an extra garbage run down there too, because the garbage cans are overrunning.
We're gonna address that.
We are? Good.
Mario and Thomas, that's what we're gonna try to work out something we can get. And I wrote, looked, and then, you know, what we know we're gonna have this many people.
Well, we did.
That's, so, you know, we're gonna work on it next week.
Anything else there?
No, sir.
Jerry?
Nothing.
Okay. Nick? Not today. Okay. Before we leave, Kathy, are you comfortable that have we given you the direction you need?
Yes, sir.
You know, we talked.
Motion for adjournment?
So moved.